This episode of Town Hall Heroes is brought to you by you, the viewers. Thank you so much for supporting us on patreon.com/townhallheroes. Welcome here to Town Hall Heroes.
Happy birthday, Happy birthday,
Hello everyone and welcome here to episode 165 of Town Hall Heroes. It is the Hanzo patch with the gameplay changes that have finally gone live. We're going to be talking about the Gold Club World Championship results, a performance-based matchmaking patch notes, viewer questions, and more festive shenanigans. I'm Solid Jake, we've got Dunk Train, and we've got Bakery, who just teleported a little bit lower. That was magical. Joining us this week, Bakerizzle. You finally got that stream rolling clean and nice. What's new, man?
Not much. So, still working on what I'm doing next year. Getting very close now, narrowing things down. But, you know, things take time, and it's annoying for me as well, but we're just going to have to wait. So in the meantime, I have been streaming, of course. You can check me out at twitch.tv/bakery. We had a really good stream today. I think I hit 1,500 viewers without a host. So that was super cool.
Nice, man.
Yeah, that's dope, dude. That's pretty incredible. Congrats. Dunkus, I heard that you were grinding Path of Exile into the deep, deep, dark hours of the night.
Yeah, man. Sometimes I get the ARPG bug and just, you know, can't go to bed. So that's what I've been doing this weekend. But yeah, I don't know. Yesterday was super fun for me with the new patch. Everything felt really fresh in Heroes. So that's all I'm looking forward to this weekend.
It's definitely a big patch, arguably bigger than 2.0 when it comes to the way that it affects the game. It's been on the PTR for a very long time. And yeah, tonight, we're going to be talking a lot about that. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, for me, I've just been grinding that and getting the holiday cheer, man. Hanging up those Christmas lights in all the places I can find in my house. It's actually weird. I just keep hanging up Christmas lights in random places because we don't have a tree yet. So
on the inside?
Oh yeah. Yep. You know, just random places. I've got some rooms, the light switches actually just turn on Christmas lights instead of the normal lights.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, that's actually awesome.
Yeah, I like it a lot, actually. But once we get our tree, which is probably next week, I'll probably actually properly put those lights on the tree, you know?
I'll just buy more lights for the tree.
Yeah.
Maybe. But, you know...
Double down, Jake. Do both.
Normal people put them outside. But it snowed here, and then I'm like, I hadn't put them up yet. I'm like, well, I'm not going to climb up on the roof and then put all the lights up when there's snow on the roof, because I will fall and crack my skull open, and I don't feel like doing that right now. So I'm content with our results for now.
I like them inside.
Do you?
I mean, let's be real.
It feels a lot more cozy, right? Like, you don't see them outside.
Yeah, you can't see your own lights if they're on the outside, man. You got to put them all on the inside.
You look outside your window, you see everyone else's lights, and then you turn around to your front room and you have your own lights, you know? It's like the best of both worlds.
It really makes me wonder what my neighbors think, though, because some of them are hanging in the windows on the inside and the front of the house. We're like, we're trying, we're going halfway, you know? It's like the laziest.
Guys, it was too cold outside. I'm just hanging these up here.
Oh man, but I'm definitely starting to get those festive vibes. I even got the fire rolling tonight. But yeah, let's just jump into the discussion, and I think we can start with GCWC because that is the one big event that's happening this winter. HGC is on break, and it's also our first look at the 2018 teams. Naturally, we've been talking about this for a couple weeks now, but we now know that Bakery is really smart and knows his stuff because Dignitas is the team to watch, at least in the West. And KSV Black, pretty much as expected, they dropped one map the entire tournament?
They dongled on that tournament. I think it might have been 2 or 3. But...
Dongled? Well, after at least in the playoff stage, they dropped one map, I think, to Fnatic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
and
so.
that's it.
I think it was one to Fnatic and one to Ballistics in group stage.
Pretty nutso. Wow, my browser's broken. That's cool. I'll fix that. But I mean, naturally, you said you thought Dignitas would do well. Is this on par with what you were expecting? Or is this better than expectations?
I think I predicted them second. I don't remember exactly. Like, to be honest, putting them above Ballistics was like something I wanted to do, but I wasn't sure about.
Oh.
And I think both the Ballistics series showed that was It's pretty
close.
weird. Like honestly, this entire tournament, the differences between the tiers seemed pretty pronounced. Like, it was quite obvious that Beyond the Game were the worst team in the tournament, followed by either SPT or Roll20. Roll20 did look a lot stronger in the group stage, of course, but looked a lot weaker in the series they played. Then Fnatic was a lot better than... CE was a lot better than Super Perfect Team, and then Fnatic was a lot better than CE. Dignitas was a lot better than Fnatic. Ballistics and Dig super, super close. Two 5-game series that could have gone either way both times.
Yeah.
Reverse sweep, actually, for the losers finals between them, so that was insane. And then KSV Black quite far ahead of everyone else as well. So a very staggered tournament for sure.
So just kind of looking at that and the results here, we can clearly say that KSV Black are S tier. Dignitas and Ballistics are A tier. Is Fnatic also A tier, or are they B tier?
I think
based on this one tournament, yeah, okay. So they are. Yeah. You think they are truly that step below? What's the biggest variable based on the gameplay, in your opinion, Dunk?
I don't know what I would really pin down if there's any singular factor about Fnatic's gameplay that I felt was really lacking. It just felt like they were one of those teams where, like, against Dig, they always felt one step behind. A little bit. I mean, they had some moments of glory, obviously, against, like, KSV Black taking games. I think they took a game in group stage off of Ballistics as well, but, like, in general, just looked like they weren't quite gelling yet.
I don't know. It's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what Fnatic do. So they kind of have, like, two paths, basically, of saying, like, okay, guys, well, sure, messed up this one, but we're not worried. Like, this is fine. Just keep doing the same thing. We'll gel eventually. Or to basically freak out and say, like, we need to change everything. Let's change our roles. Let's change, like, shot calling.
I
definitely like to see them go with the let's just reset. You know, it was a tournament 2 weeks after we formed as a roster. Right. We know that we just lost our Swedish language communication. We just lost our frontline dynamic. We lost like the way that our team interacts with each other because of that Swedish culture. You even lost the flexibility in roles because you have many Krakniks, which, well, quite scary, is at the moment very inflexible in my opinion, compared to Swimpy, who can play every ranged assassin in the game to a very high level. So, yeah, I don't think they should have been expecting great things, to be honest, coming out of this group stage. And I'd like to see them stick with it, reset, and just try again.
Yeah, I mean, I think both of us are probably people who always advocate, like, if your roster doesn't work out instantly, it's not the end of the universe. Like, just try to iron things out.
Yeah.
So, I agree.
It's definitely good to see at least consistency amongst the teams being top four with a lot of changes, you know, basically through all of phase 2 and then continuing that narrative. China still falling behind in their own region. I'm still a little surprised and sad about that. I'm also sad to see, you know, the one NA team really struggle just in general throughout the whole event, because that has been the theme all 2017, and we closed out the year with NA still looking like they are behind. I honestly feel like just kind of this, we're basically tying the knot on esports for the year now. This is it. It's done. There's nothing else happening that is at all global or relevant. There might be some fun small things, but I mean, NA, there's definitely been proof that the mentality is good right now overall in terms of like the way that teams are wanting to approach practice, the way that teams want to get better, the way that teams have the drive, new coaches being brought onto teams to mix things up and help level them up. And I think there's a lot of really talented managers on the NA teams, but there's still a fundamental difference when it comes down to the end game because the results aren't there, not yet. And I really hope 2018 that can change. And will the drastic changes to the game shake the whole meta up enough? That's something that is entirely possible, right? The game is in a way going to be getting a bit of a meta reset in terms of draft and in terms of a lot of shot calling on specific maps, especially with the new information provided in the game. So I think this is kind of NA's opportunity. They had a bad year overall in global events, and 2018 is a whole new game, pretty much.
Yes, it is.
Bakery has no faith. He has no faith.
I don't know if they had a bad year. It is actually... See, you thought I was going the other way. You thought I was going to flame them. I'm going the other way, Jake. I'm going to say I think they had a good year. I think you compare to 2016, where they were very clearly the fourth best region from start to finish. Whereas this year, they overtook China. There were times when the top NA team took games off Europe. There were times when, for example, Team Freedom at this clash, they should have been beating Team Liquid. There was a very interesting core rush game on Warhead Junction, which was the only reason they didn't win. So I think they had a good year, NA. And towards the end, that was definitely looking up. But as is usually the issue, when NA reset pretty hard. And this was a new roster for Roll 20. And they went from looking like a very competent team that knew what they were doing to a very talented team that had no idea what they were doing. And that's something that can be fixed over time. That's something they can work on and improve. But disappointing result, I would say, at Gold Club. But outside of that, I think they did well.
I guess it's hard to reconcile, like, the year overall felt bad for NA because of how much they got crushed at the first 3 global events. But then at BlizzCon, they actually kind of showed an upward trend. So hopefully that continues.
Tempo Storm took a map from Fnatic, so...
Yeah.
BlizzCon was incredible this year. I can agree with that. But I think if we ended on BlizzCon, my perception of NA probably would have left with like a little bit of a more optimistic vibe. But seeing Roll20 really... again, it's a new squad, and it's super hard to really hold that against even the region because only one team's present. But... I'm always rooting for NA, man, and it just I'm that guy that if we're not first, we're last, and that's just kind of how it feels. And I get to sit on the sidelines and be that dad that yells at his kids and goes like, "Billy, do better." But Billy will do better next year, I hope. So, performance-based matchmaking is probably the biggest topic that we're seeing since the patch went live in terms of what everybody's talking about on the web right now. And this is to be expected. Now, once again, to briefly cover this, you have your rank, and then you have your ranking or your rating, basically, which is think of it as a number of 1 through 4,000 that is on the back end that is individual to you. When you end a game now, it'll actually tell you if you went up in points or not. And it's a little bit crazy right now because people are playing their placements as it is a new season and going from gold to master, going from plat to silver, going from master to diamond, whatever, jumping all over the place, up and down. And a lot of people are either feeling ecstatic because suddenly they're 2 leagues above, or really depressed because they've dropped way below. And I think this is only natural when you overhaul the system like this. Are you guys surprised to see how chaotic things are currently?
Well, I mean, like, there's absolutely no question there is a bug affecting something, because some people are getting absolutely outrageous adjustments, and I don't want that to be conflated with
But
what
has
the actual
Blizzard
performance-based matchmaking rating system.
Have they acknowledged a bug?
As of 21 minutes ago,
Yes.
Blizzard have acknowledged the bug.
Oh, okay.
So I am going to link it.
I got it in the chat.
All right, you got it in the chat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great job,
That
Doc.
changes a
Yeah.
lot because I did not see
Dude,
that.
I was gonna
but-
go off on the show actually about them not acknowledging the bug yet after 24
I was
hours of
also
their
thinking about that. Yeah.
clearly being an issue.
Okay.
So
Post.
yeah, Travis confirming that it looks like there's a bug. Just in case you want to see what the bug looks like, I've linked a GIF for you guys in the chat. It's pretty insane. You know, I might not recommend clicking on it.
For your sanity.
Yeah, no. If you want to stay a normal human being, maybe don't click it. But that was posted by JSwitty on Twitter.
Oh my god.
Wow.
That is insane. I mean, what are they gonna do? Like, do they have to restart the season? These
Dude,
people are so
I was
wildly far off where they belong.
I was talking about this. I was talking about this on my stream, and I was thinking, like, so how many people are affected? Is it literally 20 people who have been affected by this? Well, that's pretty clear. Like, it's pretty clear. Ignore them. You like still like either ignore them. It's only 20 people, or like put them where they belong manually, or put them back in placements. Like, those are the three options. Those are all fine. But if we're talking like it's 10% of the player base, then that's one person in every game who does not, who is screwing everything, like in that game. If we're talking like 20%, that's two people, like one each team potentially. Like at that point, you have to start considering: do we restart the season? If it's any higher than that, that's almost the best option in my opinion, and that's insane. Like,
I mean, I think even at like 5%. Like, think about how far these people are getting placed outside of where they belong, let's say. Like, if you're getting placed like 2 full rank grades or 3 full rank grades separate from where you belong, then even if it's 5% of people, like 1 in 20, so on average, 1 every 2 games, the game is completely decided by like this one person who is either placed way lower or way higher than they should be, like a huge outlier. There's just no way that that's acceptable at even 5% of the population.
Wow. For those of you that want to hear what the actual statement is from Blizzard, it's just Blizz Travis stating on Reddit, "We're investigating these reports. Currently, it looks like there may have been an issue with the initial MMR seeding for some players when the season started, which would then cause where they ended up after placements took off. We're digging into it and should have some more information soon." Again, Bakery shared this with us. It was posted 25 minutes from right now. And amazing that they've acknowledged it finally, but this is still a catastrophe in the grand scheme of things because, like you said, 5%, it doesn't matter what the number is. People already are critical of the matchmaking system. Improving that is the whole intent of this process. If it is just thrown, a bunch of players just up or down all over the place for whatever reason, I think the reset, at least of placement games, is probably going to happen if it's bad enough, but who knows? Maybe not for everyone.
Yeah, or they could just like manually roll back affected accounts or something to pre-placement. I don't know. But yeah, that's
I think that's something you can do.
Yeah, that's wild.
I'm suddenly very happy I haven't played my placements yet. But then again, maybe it would have been Master.
Maybe you could have gotten the Master reward for free. I mean, I got placed Master 1K with like 7-3 or whatever, so I didn't even know there was a bug until like a couple hours later when people were telling me on my stream. Yeah, so I guess outside of the bug that Blizzard has now acknowledged, so we can stop worrying about that until they say further what they're going to do or how many people were affected. Have you been playing, obviously, Baker? How have you felt about the actual performance-based matchmaking rating adjustment. Have you been paying attention to yours after each game?
Yeah, I have been paying attention, actually, Doug. I'm not upset, by the way. Just want to get that out there before I start. I feel like I am getting dongled by the system as a support-only player, where I honestly feel every single game I've played so far, I think I played maybe 4 to 6 games after placements.
Mm-hmm.
And every game, I was like, I feel like I just had a good performance. I feel like I was a huge reason why our team won. I had between 0 and 1 deaths every game. I had the highest healing every game. I had close to 100 kill participation, if not 100. And every game except one, I got negative performance adjustment. And the one I didn't, right, guys? I had like 28 assists or something on Uther, 0 deaths, double Lucio's healing. I smashed this game. I get 1 point.
Well, that could just mean that it expects you to perform that well at your MMR. And the system knows you're too good, so it can't give you any more points even for playing well.
I don't know what's going on, but I feel like support specifically. But so here's the thing: is I played 1 game of medic on Blaxis. 1 death, highest healing in the game, triple the next support. I had, I think, 90-something kill participation. The only kills I did not participate in were 3 solo kills, where Greymane killed the hacker 3 times in lane, okay? Now, I got -7 performance adjustment in that game. That the hacker that had 5 deaths and got solo killed 3 times, he got +7.
Nice.
That's tough. And when you think about trying to program this kind of matchmaking with so many variables, like especially when it comes to a meta that was defined by players, right? The way that solo lanes work, the way that rotations work, it was all something that just kind of figured itself out by the community. There are certain things that we look at as expectations, like that's a lane that Dahaka should win. The end, period. And can this algorithm track that that's a lane that Dahaka theoretically should win versus a Greymane, and then realize that him dying 3 times is actually a huge misplay, and properly grade it based on that metric, right? Because that's the only metric you've given us. Regardless, that's for the first half of the game, that is a huge deal. That is a super important metric. And I mean, that's why everyone's been so critical about, is this performance-based matchmaking going to be what it needs to be, right? Is it going to actually be accurate? Or is it just going to be like, all right, well, Dahaka, you didn't brush Stalker enough, so you weren't using your global. Therefore, you're not a good Dahaka. Like, we don't know how in-depth it is. There's no way for us to know unless Ollie can be like the super secret, I don't know, back-end diver and find all the intel for us. Maybe. Ollie, you're on the job, right? I believe in you.
I mean, we've got Chaos OS as well now. He does Math of the Storm. Mm-hmm. Sorry, Critic Kitten, I think, who does Pat's Note reviews or something. But we've got a few people now. There's like 3 of them at least. Maybe one of them can get on it. Anyway, but New York does bring up a good point in the chat. So I was just comparing myself to all my teammates and saying I was doing so well compared to everyone else in the game. And that's not what the system does. The system actually compares you to the average performance at your MMR.
But of that specific hero.
Yeah. In theory with that build style, but we're not 100% sure. But my issue is, like, I'm performing well in this game full of Grandmaster players who are at the Master rank. And I feel like I've played well, so surely that should be above the average, not below it. Like, there are games where I'm going to die 3 times, and I'm going to see a negative rank adjustment. I'm going to be like, oh, sure, okay, I normally have 0 deaths there. I had 3. That's my bad. I played below average. But, like, I didn't. I died 0 times. Like, the average cannot be that high, guys. Like, the average cannot be -1 deaths. Like,
So
I was specifically avoiding playing support yesterday, actually, because of placement games. All my games were so Clan Fiesta. Like, the support games I played, I felt like I had no impact. So I was just playing assassins or tanks. And I felt like it was close to the mark. Like, I generally
It
felt
looked close on other people's streams to me.
it
Most of the
felt
time.
close to the mark.
Sometimes it was like, what happened there? But most of the time it was pretty accurate, it looked like.
Yeah. There was
Apart
definitely
from
one
support.
game. There was definitely one game where I straight inted on Diablo, played horrific that game, and I got like -20, and I just looked at it afterwards and I was like, "Yep, I deserved that. I played like garbage, dude. I am the reason we lost this game." But there was one Valera game where I did like nothing all game except got a random solo kill on Vala, and it was like +20, and I was like, "Sweet."
Jeez. We'll talk about her in a little bit, Valera. But is this something that you guys are excited to look at after the game, or does it stress you out? Are you like, what's my rating? Or you're like, do I hover? Do I want to look at that? Like,
I love it after games, dude. I love it. I mean, as a streamer, it probably adds a lot because it's like a little just bit of extra entertainment value. Like, I can either complain about it or like make jokes about it or whatever. So for me, it's just like extra free content that Blizzard is providing with this system.
I looked at it in the exact same way today, actually. I was like,
Yeah.
guys, are you ready? Like, you know, big suspense.
Like make your chat guess about it and stuff before you reveal it. It's fun.
Yeah, dude, my chat was on point about guessing. The entire game, actually, they were guessing, you know? Like, I took a chain bomb to my team. They were like, -50. Like, it was in the chat, you know? I cleansed like a mosh pit. They were like +100, you know? Like,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
So one thing I do want to talk about, actually, is that... So this season, we've had a lot of reports of these weird placements, right?
Mm-hmm.
The issue is we actually had this issue last season already, when everybody placed Master 1,000 points. I was playing with other pro players, like we were in TeamSpeak, we were talking about it. We were legitimately getting people who were gold, were placing to Master. We were sending reports in, like Blizzard were aware of the issue, and the same thing happened again this season. I mean, I know we had performance-based matchmaking changes, but I really would have liked to seen changes to how that placement system works. Not just in terms of these outliers are insane, but in terms of someone who played a bunch in preseason. I have a ton of pictures of these from last season, where the guy has like 1,000 games in preseason. He loved the game, was very good at the game back then. Rank 1 player. He then plays like 10 placement games in Season 1, 2016. Gets Diamond 3, doesn't play again, plays this season, plays his placements, gets Master 1,000 points. Like, he has no idea about the game, he hasn't played it. Like, there needs to be changes to how that placement system works. And this is an entirely separate topic from performance-based matchmaking, but to me, it's a bigger issue this season for me to see these people who just haven't played the game. Like, right. I had a Sylvanas earlier who ended up with something like 9 deaths or something insane like that, and I just kept saying, "Oh, I don't remember it like this." Like after the game, I checked, she just hasn't played since preseason. She's played like 10 quick matches in like Season 3, 2016 or something. Like,
yeah.
What blows my mind is why they're going straight into ranked. You think if you haven't played a game a long time, you want to at least play on ranked, kind of get familiar with the game again, but. Regardless, yeah, there should be some form of fall off. The MMR should decay essentially if you're not logging in. And I think Overwatch has MMR decay.
Overwatch has aggressive MMR decay.
But that's honestly a good thing, right? If you're not playing, it only affects you, I think, if you're a diamond and higher in Overwatch. If you're like bronze through plat, it's just like whatever, this metric, it's fine, you're not going to decay. But as soon as you're in diamond or higher, diamond master and grandmaster, there's MMR decay. And basically what that means, if you don't know, it just means if you're not playing the game, your MMR will deteriorate to there's a cutoff point where it will be like, all right, this is as low as you can fall. But it's not like you haven't played in 3 days, you lose MMR. It's like, all right, you haven't logged in 2 weeks. I don't know the exact number, but it's definitely a few weeks, and then you start to drop off. Because theoretically you're getting rusty, so therefore your MMR is dropping, and it's reasonable, right? So definitely something that could be introduced to heroes. I think a lot of people would appreciate as well for that case. Like you're saying, somebody that hasn't played in over a year is in a BlizzCon finalists game. Like what? But then again, you got queued with me on NA, so I don't know.
That did happen, yeah.
Anything else you guys want to talk about this before we continue on?
So in terms of how I would fix that, like I was just thinking it through. So I would I'd make the placement cap Diamond 3, unless you have placed above that in that season. At the start of every year, so like 2018 season 1, I would put the cap between like Platinum 1 and Diamond 3. Like personally, I'd like to have it Plat 1, but you might have it Diamond 3 just to keep consistency. Maybe that's a system that's working quite well. And you have to climb up to Masters. Every reset after that, so going from season 1 to season 2, season 2 to 3, etc., you can place like back directly into whatever rank you go up to before. So let's say you're capped at Diamond 3, but you hit Diamond 1, you can place Diamond 1. You hit Master, you can place Master. And just keep that so that every year you have a hard reset to make sure that people are staying down and bring people back in who maybe got a bit too high. But still making it very easy for, hey, we're going from season to season. Yesterday I was a Master player. Today I played 10 games. I'm now a Master player again. I think that maintains the best parts of both systems. So I'd like to see them implement that for sure.
Sounds reasonable. Dunk, do you agree?
Do you think resets are even necessary? This is like an interesting topic, I think, in general for the matchmaking system. Like, are resets necessary? Because it seems like every time we do a new season and there's a soft reset, like, there's a problem. There seems to just always be a problem. I would love to say that it's fixable, but like, if it doesn't work this many times in a row, like...
Have you ever played a game that doesn't have a reset? Because every Blizzard game I know,
I'm not sure,
uses this system. StarCraft, Hearthstone, Overwatch, they all have seasons with resets. I assume it's the same for League. I have no idea about Dota.
Dota has like some like weird different ratings you can use with different queues. Like when the international comes around, you can buy an international rating and you get to be on a different ladder. But I don't remember if Dota's ladder ever reset, because it's like a fresh ladder basically.
I see.
Like,
that's cool. You choose to play on that ladder basically.
Yeah. You choose to play on that ladder instead, is my understanding. But I think all the other MOBAs and stuff reset. Was just curious. I mean, I think you do need some sort of soft reset, but I don't know why it seems to be such a problem in Heroes.
So it's not actually just Heroes. League of Legends, they do a ranked reset once per year. They get a lot of the same issues. I think most players will probably remember Saint Vicious having his. I think he ended the season at like top 20 challenger. He peaked at top 3 challenger that season. He did the placement games. He got placed silver 5. So it's not a Heroes issue. Like, there are just random bugs that pop up with all of these systems.
Oh my
god! That was an especially funny one way back, going from season 3 to 4, if I recall correctly.
Did he play in TSM?
He played on Curse and CLG. I don't think he's been playing TSM.
Yeah.
But
that's amazing.
Yeah, so we had a similar situation with it's not quite as severe, but Steph being career master player, I think grandmaster possibly that season, getting placed Plat 2. Some similar stories on Reddit, of course, and people going the other way a lot as well. So yeah, resets do seem to have their fair few bugs.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's tough with team-based games too. I think there's a lot of different variables that come into play in all the games. Even when it is performance-based matchmaking, which is theoretically all about your individual performance, there's still a lot of other metrics that come into play in that one game. Okay. Well, the patch notes, typically when you have a patch, the PTR is generally all you really need to discuss. But since this was on the PTR for, 3 or 4 weeks, and there was a lot of feedback given during this PTR, there are some changes that have been brought into, and of course, whenever they release these patch notes, it's all indicated by the orange text. Naturally, Wintervale, we've got the quest. And just to update, we talked about what skins that everyone likes the best. Have you guys gotten any sweet skins yet?
I did, as soon as I logged in, I crafted a, I think it was a Vala skin that I wanted.
The new
And
one?
then I promptly played 3 games, got a loot box, opened it, and got a duplicate of the exact tip that I crafted, and wanted to smash my keyboard.
Yeah, why would you do that before opening loot boxes? Oh,
Oh, it was a Jaina skin. You're right, Crit. Yeah,
Jaina.
yeah. That felt bad, man.
Nice.
But like, I didn't want to wait
Nice.
until the end of the Winter Veil event to craft my things.
Yeah. I opened 10 loot boxes before I bought my Vala skin. That was my restraint. Baker, did you edge it all?
I've got 261 loot boxes to open.
Damn.
Hello?
None of
Winter
them
Veil
paid
ones?
for. No, just in general. But
You just dropped some cash money.
Somebody told me like you can get Wintervale skins from non-Wintervale chests. Someone else said I couldn't. Someone else said you like will get a Wintervale skin and you can't get a normal skin. I don't know what's going on with loot boxes. Honestly, I actually have no idea how this game's monetary system works because I haven't used it for the past year or since Heroes 2.0 came out. I had an unlocked account, so
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, I edged hard. I was edging all week, getting all those heroes nice and ready to burst, and started popping them off one after another as soon as the patch went live, and we got some decent content. I got some nice stuff, but we're not going to talk about the holiday skins for too long. But we do have some updates here. So I remember one of the big changes that community feedback was destroying the gate would destroy the sidewalls. And then a lot of complaints were, well, if I'm Diablo, I want those walls there so I can shadow charge people. I want them there as Vala because I can keep my hatred stacks up. Or what, there's a million different like interactions that people are used to having with those walls being an opportunity to get utility out of X, Y, or Z. Do you guys feel hard one way or the other?
Nope.
Bakery?
not really. I mean, the thing I am slightly annoyed about is that I do think this is one of the changes that actually would have made the game better. Let's put it this way, okay? Is if you release the game today, you add a new map, you add walls to the game, do they get destroyed when you kill the towers and gate? The answer is 100% yes. It just makes sense. So it's disappointing that I feel like people reacted this way because they are used to playing with walls. And
Yeah.
I enjoy playing with walls, right? Like, as a healer, you can use them to body block, you can use them to be safer with positioning, to dodge stuff, juke stuff. Like, as Illidan, like, you can dash to them, Diablo can charge to them. They're fun to play with, but I do think the game's probably better without them. So, the fact it never made it to live, like, if they put it to live and they say, guys, we're going to test these changes for, like, 1 to 3 weeks until our next patch, and we're going to see how it goes on live. If you guys don't like it at the end of 3 weeks, we're fine to avert it. We were open to that. But the fact it never made it to live, like 90% of the player base at least never got to play with those changes. The few percent that did probably didn't even put much effort into it because no one feels strongly either way. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's just slightly upsetting that it made it to live.
I would agree.
Not
Because
really.
you think about just the structure changes in general, right? That one tower that's gone theoretically creates this much more space that is diveable. But those walls really prevent that. And aggressive, fort diving for a kill and stuff can be exciting in some moments, but walls make that a lot more risky because of choke points, skill shots, yada, yada, yada. But yeah, it is definitely a little disappointing to not see it there. I'm used to it. I don't mind it being there, but it would have been interesting to really get a feel for what that change would have been like.
So people are asking me why the game's better without them. The game's better without them because if you're the defending team and you say, "Oh, Illidan's going to use our walls, guys," we can't do anything. Like there are walls, but they hurt us more than we can't attack them. We can't clear them. They give vision, but it's not enough that everyone can just run through the middle, so it's a misplay if they give any vision to us. Like, it just makes no sense from a gameplay perspective to have walls that they only hinder your team. They do nothing to help you once the main wall is down.
99% of the cases. Diablo theoretically is like one of the few that can shadow charge enemies into those walls and utilize them, but 99% of the time the enemies are maintaining their hatred stacks or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But
if you could kill them yourself once the tower is dead, I would be happy with them. I don't think they need to die when the wall dies, but you just need to have some counterplay, in my opinion.
There is merit to having them for vision, but yeah. Agreed. All right. Well, that's gone for now, unless they ever revisit that. We're not going to read through everything. We're just going to read the orange text, guys, because this patch has been on the PTR for a while, and you can watch the other episodes if you haven't already. Improved AI functionality. Nice.
Yep.
Dunk, you used to love Nova once upon a time. What do you think about the new Nova?
I think Nova is actually quite a bit better than before. The change to baseline Snipe Master with the bonus percentage damage at 5 stacks means you're hitting significantly harder at fully stacked snipe than pre-change, combined with like the, I think, baseline percentage damage on Hollow Decoy. Like, I think Nova's a lot better at actually killing heroes. But I also think that wave clear got even more important with this patch, and early game in particular wave clear and structure sieging, so
she struggles there, yeah.
So I think she struggles too much there, yeah.
I played with a Nova. She felt okay. So we actually got smashed that game, but it definitely wasn't the Nova's fault. It was everyone else. It was a gold 1 Nova. She was probably the strongest player on the team. So it was a pretty bad game. Like, But yeah, she definitely felt a lot more useful than she has in the past. Felt like a lot of damage was coming out from her.
Yeah, she does a lot of damage at full Snipe Master stacks.
Would you say stealthies in general feel more useful?
Well, Valero's broken. I mean, that's a topic further down, I think. Yeah. But just to close out Nova, like Dunktrain, you mentioned she had no wave clear, but at 16 she has explosive round.
Why did they move it later in the game?
So she can actually clear like the whole wave with that.
That's like really cool, man.
Yeah,
mega value.
That's like, whoa, dude. I mean, maybe that should get nerfed and moved to level 20. Like, Medivh doesn't get his wave clear until 20, so like probably Nova shouldn't get hers until then either, you know?
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Medivh's got to be the next year getting rework, right? He has to be. He has to be.
Maybe.
It's coming soon, guys.
Maybe.
It has to be. But yeah, late game wave clear talents like Tracer at 13, Nova now at 16. Weird. Doesn't really make the most sense, but
so back to overall stealth changes. Okay, so Nova I think is actually a better hero killer, but it doesn't solve the fundamental problems with Nova's kit. Samuro, I only played against one Samuro. He felt weaker because the images couldn't threaten. So Samuro went from a hero who's at 0 risk, dealing damage to you and being super obnoxious with illusions, to a hero who actually has to put himself at risk to damage your squishies, which is a better gameplay dynamic, but overall he felt much more manageable and like fair to play against, aka weaker. Zeratul, I didn't see very many Zeratools in my games, like maybe 1 or 2, and I think they both went Void Prison, so I have no idea. He felt like basically the same character. Like, Zeratul has so much mobility that I'm not sure the stealth shader change matters that much to him because he's so rarely relied on stealth compared to relying on his mobility to be effective.
I actually saw a lot of Zeratul.
Yeah?
So Arcana was spamming Zeratul, Snitz was playing a few Zeratul games today, and they were both going for this new style of build where they would take the Blink Globe talent at level 1. So they would have like a 5 cost mana blink on a very short cooldown. They would then take Wormhole at 7. They would blink in, do like 2 autos, Wormhole back out, and then, you know, like 5 seconds later and 5 mana later, they'd blink back in again and just keep doing the same thing from like various angles. Like, it looked really good, to be honest. And they were both successful with the hero when they were playing it.
Were they generally? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just wondering if they were choosing Void Prison or...
No, they were choosing Might of the Nerzim.
Okay.
Which makes him a lot more scary. He's doing like enough damage to kill people now, like he used to.
That's
interesting.
Cool. So he's basically a hypermobile melee assassin, not a mage, which is what Zeratil's always been. He's always been a burst mage.
He's still a burst mage, but he can actually poke now.
That sounds fun. That sounds really, really interesting to watch and play as. So, cool. Thanks for the insight on that style for Zeratul. Honestly,
also talk about Samura real quick. I actually watched Grubby play Samura on stream, and I was surprised about how much value he got. He made Samura look very scary. So level 1,
it's Grubby though.
The images no longer die in one shot to towers. So he ran at a tower, like just half HPs at level 1, takes 0 damage in return. He looked like a very scary laner. He could actually make plays and go aggressive and do stuff by using the clones. Like, so you use one copy on the wave, you then run with your body to their easy camp to like pressure a different lane maybe, and then you can teleport back to the lane where your clone's still doing 1 damage to the minion wave over and over. So it's not even pushing. So he looked very strong in the hands of a capable player, and I think he's going to be better, I think, if you like nail that hero. I think he's going to be very strong, but he's definitely a lot harder for like people to pick up and play appropriately. Yeah.
So
that's actually fantastic.
Yeah, it sounds like it's kind of like what we wanted Vikings to be. A hero that can kind of be everywhere, but is still just requires high skill and a lot of just map awareness, micromanagement, and multitasking. That's cool. That's good to hear, actually, because I remember talking to Grubby when Samurai first came out, and he was just so disappointed. That's like his hero, man. He's a Warcraft 3 legend with Blade Master, if you guys didn't know that somehow, and that's literally what Samurai is. What about Valera, Bakery? How do you feel about Valera?
I think Valera's broken. So my impression so far is that Valera has a 3-second silence that she can cast from range, and then when she silences someone for 3 seconds and they want to return damage, she can then turn completely invisible in a shroud of weather after having nuked someone and then escape, and then teleport again very quickly after.
Honestly, I like don't even really want to talk about Valera because I want to keep playing her because she's so broken and fun right now. Like, honestly, probably half of the fun I had yesterday was the result of playing Valera and being like, oh my god, this hero is so broken. She's so much fun to play right now. Like, I think she's ridiculous. The only games I didn't pick Valera when she was... So she immediately started getting first banned in my games. Like, within 2 hours of starting my stream, Valera was getting first banned.
I wonder why.
And then any game she wasn't banned, the only reason I wouldn't pick her is because my team had no wave clear. And, like, I didn't want to lose the game to minions because I don't like that. So, yeah, I'm having so much fun playing Valera. She's way, way too good right now.
She does so much utility and stupid damage on top of it. Like, I just think she's got a little bit too much of both, and she's not even that vulnerable. Like Bakery said, she's got re-stealth, she's got an ultimate to get away, she has got so many tools to just slip into the shadows. I mean, she's a rogue. She feels like that amazing, amazing rogue fantasy. Absolutely. Like, you're watching for her, you're throwing out your flares or whatever, but her damage output is pretty nuts for what she offers. Is.
I feel like they were like, I don't know, the nerf to cheap shot seems so weird too. It's like they were so nervous, like, about people's stun chain killing someone, that like we'll nerf the
Silences.
duration of cheap shot, but then we'll just give you like a fucking infinity long silence. I mean, dude,
Demonetized. Thanks, Dunk.
sorry, man. 3 seconds or 2.75, let's be fair, on a silence is long enough that you can basically like, if not outright kill any squishy who like any squishy who's basically out of position even a little bit, you can almost outright kill them in your combo in 3 seconds.
I
And
was,
like they can't retaliate at all.
yeah, right before the stream, I was playing a game of Hanzo. Just wanted to get a game of Hanzo in so we could talk about him a little bit more today. And sure enough, there's a Valir in the enemy team. And if I ever got caught with Valir opening her combo on me, I died. Like I had to always have my E available and run like hell to survive. And maybe I could trade if I use my dragon arrow to stun her and kill her with the combo late game. Like maybe. But if she gets to jump on you, you just die. And like it's just insane, right? I love the idea of her being an amazing assassin that gives lots of utility to the team and like is always all over the place helping with ganks. But to be able to solo gank the way she can feels, I don't know, I feel like I'm getting slaughtered by like a Nova as my first time playing the game against a Flair. I see her coming. I know she's there. And I'm still just getting slaughtered if I misplay at all.
Yeah, I think she's basically like Genji tier of able to assassinate random people who are out of position. Like basically engages on you from outside of your vision, and then you're dead before you can do anything. Although she doesn't instantly win team fights like Genji does, so she's probably actually balanced right now, and we'll just have to get nerfed back to the level of being unfun in order to be not like obnoxious.
So I was playing with Kuni-chan today. So Kuni-chan, former professional player for Team Synergy, well-known specialist, like playing stuff like Vexar, Samuro, Valera, and like we were playing against the Sylvanas, and he was playing Valera so well. I was just like, that Sylvanas is up the Roger. She was so screwed every single time.
What was that phrase you just said? Up the Rogers?
Never mind. Valera just blink on her, like one shot at her every time. It was really very brutal.
Can you explain Up the Roger? I'm
No.
Okay, good. I don't know. She feels pretty damn good, but it's nice to have the stealthy in the meta, Kappa. I think that's all the stealth changes, though. Overall, you know, I think when we first experienced the stealth, that whole fantasy was, I think, ruined for a lot of people. But I've been playing the game on ultra settings, and I think it looks cool. I don't know what it looks like at lower settings or whatever, but I have no problem with it. They still look like a stealth to me. Yes, it's easier to spot them. It's no longer an eye check. But I think it's a well executed, you know, fix for the way that stealthies look, and overall they were able to give them more power with the sacrifice of that stealth. And I think it's a successful rework. Maybe numbers need to be changed for a few heroes, but it seems like a pretty well done part of this gameplay update for 2018.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree.
Do you guys have any complaints other than like number balance maybe that you'd like to see changed? Or are you happy overall with the stealthies?
I don't know. I mean, the fantasy like issue was the only issue I ever had with the stealth change, and that's not getting changed, so it is what it is. I don't have a problem with it. Like, it was a sacrifice that they felt they had to make to try and not make things so like the stealthy so obnoxious, so it's fine.
Fair enough. Well, continuing down the list of basically patch note changes that have changed since the PTR, Hammer got a rework, and pretty much everybody said she's not that good. So they gave her some love, some more health, some more damage. They took some bonus away from Maelstrom rounds to just kind of wrap that into the baseline, essentially. Hover Siege, a little bit better. I think that's what the stats used to be, but it used to be a level 16 talent, so they just brought it back to its old power, but add a level 7 talent for Hover Siege, and then the Shrapnel Mines. That's actually insane. The level 20 lasts for 4 seconds. That talent is the only reason that I think Hammer feels like she can just slay in any situation. I felt like a god level 20 with Shrapnel Mines with a mine build, and they buffed that. But this is good. I have not played her since this change myself. Have you guys tried it at all?
Nope.
Okay, moving on. Nothing with Murden. Oh, I mean, Sledgehammer no longer removes ammo, but that was in there on the PTR. Winterville skins, yada yada. And I feel like there's some bug fixes, or...
Mm-hmm. The Nazebo bug fix is really important, because before...
Superstition.
So Nazebo Superstition was not deactivating after he died with the talent, so like for the rest of the game you just have a huge amount of spell armor. And I was really disappointed that like Nazebo didn't get disabled from ranked during this.
Because he became super popular, yeah.
Yeah, like it was really disappointing he didn't get removed from ranked.
That's something
I really feel like we need that system, Blizzard. So
they've done it before, a long time ago.
They did it once with Kel'Thas. It took a week, and it was a patch to disable him. So at that point, if you're gonna patch, why not just fix it? I assume is the mentality, but like they need a switch, like server side, where they can say like, okay, no more
disable,
more Nazebo, no more Falstad, no more Kel'Thas,
whatever, yeah.
Like without anyone restarting their client, without anyone downloading anything, just like you go into the next game, pops up an alert on like the breaking news of like Kel'Thas has been disabled due to a bug. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's really necessary because it's ridiculous to be put in a situation where like someone's literally abusing a bug against you, and it's like, is that cheating? Is he just using what's available to him in the game?
Yep.
It wasn't on the known bugs list for some reason. So technically, like according to their terms of service, they weren't bug abusing. Like who knows? I think we just need a switch to like take all of those questions out and just say you can no longer play that hero because it's bugged.
And they've even got that whole
or even the talent like.
Well, the thing in the corner, yeah, like delete the talent, whatever. They have that news, like Tuesday maintenance will be live whenever. Up here they show that. Just be like Nazebo's been disabled from play.
Ranked modes, yeah, absolutely.
Only has to be competitive mode, technically. I mean,
it doesn't even need to be everything. It can just be the talent, and we do know that they can actually change talents for game modes because, like in certain game modes, let's take the Brawl for example. Let's take Mage Wars. There are talents that are disabled and are not there.
Yeah. You can't take Lava Wave in the Garden Brawl.
Yeah.
But, okay. Well, that's the patch. And naturally, like we said earlier, not everyone plays the PTR. It was up there for a while. They got a lot of good intel, I'm sure, from especially pro scrims as to what's good and what's bad. But I think a lot of the feedback will be coming in now. Performance-based matchmaking, there has been a bug that has been announced. If you weren't tuned into the show, about an hour ago, Blizzard addressed the fact that yes, there is a bug with some people's matchmaking that they're looking into. The patch notes feel pretty good overall, I think, of this patch. But another report I ended up seeing on Reddit last night that a lot of people agreed on is they mentioned that they thought that the game felt less responsive. I personally have not experienced this, but there are a few weird bugs that I have experienced. I have phase shifted onto an enemy as Brightwing and given the enemy team vision and shield. That's a bug that exists.
I think that got fixed, actually.
Maybe it did today, but
I want to say it did.
But that was a thing.
Yeah, go on. Sorry.
I think Ollie did some data crunching on Towers of Doom, and the structure, health, and XP and stuff is not properly redistributed. It's a little bit off. The numbers are wrong. I think Snitch was also saying that Towers games are going by quicker.
Whoa. Yeah, there's another issue, which is the Towers of Doom altars are just not spawning. Like, it is insane. We're talking like 4 minutes or something between the shrines. It's like, what? Like, why is it taking so long? Like,
What? So there's definitely some weird things that have changed. It's kind of what I'm trying to get at here. Like, it's not all perfect, ironed out yet, but hopefully these things get hot fixed. That Brightwing thing was so jarring, though. Like, the face shifting on an enemy. Like, who wants to do that? I don't want to shield my opponent. Like, no.
Dude, you just skip the shield talents and then you can phase shift on your enemy and have a perfect Emerald Wind placement every time.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Dunk, you gonna make this happen on stream? Unless
No, I think it's already fixed. I think someone was doing it yesterday that was talking about it. I want to say Moon actually did that yesterday and then was tweeting about it or whatever. But yeah.
Probably, yeah.
How do you feel about the gameplay changes, Bakery? Like, have you noticed big differences in your games, barring like the Towers of Doom stuff is obviously whack, like, and placement is making it hard for me to tell things, but like, any first impressions on how pub games are taking the differences?
honestly, it hasn't really felt weird. I thought it would feel a lot weirder. It feels normal but fresh. Is how I describe it.
Okay.
It's the same flavor, you know?
Okay. I can see that. Yeah, it definitely, I would say with a couple particular exceptions, it didn't change the game as much as I was worried it might. First thing I noticed was the games, I want to say they feel a little more snowbally, even trying to take into account the placement issues.
I was thinking the same thing, but then I was thinking it is placements. So
it is placements. So I'm not like 100% sure on this, but it really did feel like by delaying the first objective, a lot of times one team would come to the objective with already having like a level lead or something. For example, there was one Sky Temple game where this happened to me. Like, nobody really fed or anything in the early game, but it was like, since the temples spawned later, the enemy team who had like a Zagara had managed to like push down 2 towers in her lane or whatever. So they were ahead a level going into the first temple phase. And then we like kind of lost the first temple phase, and then we were 2 levels down for the rest of the game, and the game was just over. Whereas like before, the first temple phase happens so fast that you're even basically no matter what, unless like 3 people run it down. And I was feeling like I was noticing a lot of that, where like if the early game, like the very first 2 minutes of lane go a little bit wrong, and then you lose the first objective, like you're just way far behind, because there isn't that like the first objective isn't like both teams are neutral anymore, you know?
yeah. So I actually noticed this most on Infernal Signs, I would say. Like, because so what would happen is by the time you get to sign you're level 6, by the time you finish it you're level 7, with the enemy team potentially not being level 7. If you have the level 7 tower advantage, then first off, towers are doing relatively a lot less damage to the Punisher anyway. You burn down those towers very quickly. The forts are then doing the same damage as before, and that singular tower that stopped you diving, and made it very easy for them to put it behind the tower, and you won't be able to dive past the tower. You need to bring a minion wave. You still need to kill it. Stuff like that just isn't there. So
yeah,
it's literally you win the Punisher fight. If you get a kill, especially, you just nuke down that wall. You then get the freest fort of your life, where it does barely any damage to the Punisher, because forts don't do a lot of damage, like as theirs don't. And then you can literally take keep wall. Even in a previously even game, if you get 1 or 2 kills on Sign, you can just take keep wall from the first Punisher, which seems pretty insane to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you need to make the forts to double damage to Punisher or something, because I think that's personally a change that'd be really good. You still probably get the fort. It's low once you get past the fort. Whereas right now, for me, it's ending up above 60% every time I've done it.
That's nuts. And it's a huge swing in XP,
Yeah.
right?
Now that I think about
really
it, my
is.
Infernal Shrines game was the exact same, actually. I think I had 2 Infernal Shrine games, and both were super one-sided. Like, first Punisher got a whole fort for free, basically, and some keep wall damage.
I mean, yesterday I just grinded quick match with viewers to get loot boxes, and I think I think probably 70% of our games were 3-level lead at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were pretty
Yeah.
one-sided, and they
I
were
think
5-stack games for the most part. On it's quick match, so it's different, but it still feels something's wrong or different. Not good. Obviously.
I also think that like one thing I was purposefully trying to like kind of force my teams to use to the max was the Knight Spell Armor aura. I ended multiple games with like Knight pushes instead of waiting for objective or whatever. Like there was one game where I think we had a 1-level lead and it happened to be like, I don't know, 7-6 or something, and we just got a Knight camp on Tomb of the Spider Queen with a turn in and pushed all the way and got keep at
Dude.
like 6.5 minutes, and then we were 3 levels up, and then I was trying to do the same thing on Dragonshire and stuff. Like the Knight camp pushes are so busted if you have a healer who can heal them.
I actually really like the Merc Camp changes, and it honestly feels like my teams are trying so much harder to make sure they maximize mercenary camps, not only just getting them but pushing them. And this is across just random pub games, whatever, and that feels good. I think the Mercs having more value feels good. It's not just set it and forget it, have your giants push, but the relative power of like even siege giants behind a Knight camp, if you get them together on Blackheart's Bay, that out pushes a boss. Like
easily.
Like,
it's not even.
so
I would much rather have a Knight camp than a boss right now. It's not even close. Like a Knight camp is
Are you
just
sure?
absolutely 100%. Like I can end the game with a Knight camp. If the enemy makes the mistake of trying to fight into it, they lose the fight 100%. If they don't step up to clear the Knight camp that your Malfurion or Medic is healing the Knight mage minion, then they will lose the keep 100%.
Okay, I mean that's insane. I did not have that experience once in my games. I was trying the same thing as you of like, guys, let's push with the hard camp, and my team was having none of it most of the times. I think there was like one time maybe we got it off. We got a good fight and we did end the game, but it's pretty late anyway, and they already had a keep down. But not once have I seen someone like just take the hard camp and say, "We are taking your keep," or "You are fighting us and losing." Like I haven't seen that yet. So I would be very interested to see how that plays out and how much counterplay there actually is, and how much of it is just like Hero League people have never seen this tactic before.
Yeah, that's true. Everything is grain of salt right now.
Probably, but still, like oftentimes the clear ends up being spell power, right? You're using your mage or whatever to cast that clear, and that clear is all then nullified by the Knight camp, by the mage minion in the center. Or not nullified, but completely, like totally dampened by a lot. And you're not going to send your Illidan to go dashing in at the minion because he's just going to get CC'd and blown up. So it's definitely like a big adjustment, I feel. Like maybe more so than a lot of the other changes. The globe changes, I think everyone kind of already, it's intuitive, right? The globe meta already existed of denying globes. That was already there. This just feels like a really natural, good change to the game. Whereas these Knight camps and these Merc camps in general, and even seeing people that they still haven't figured out they can dodge giant camps and sapper camps. I've seen a lot of people that just haven't learned that, yes, you can actually take 0 damage while grabbing that camp, man. PSA, you can dodge siege sapper camps and siege giant camps because that's a change they made. But
sapper camps is the big one, I think. Siege giants, it becomes very obvious, but sappers, like, people were not getting from me at all. Like, the one game I played of towers, I had an Alarak that almost died to the sapper camp because he was just stood there like, there we go, like, Speaking about Merc camps, though, I had a very interesting experience early on stream. You might have seen it on Reddit. If you looked at it today, it's literally the Hellbats. They apply their vulnerable to the core and they tank like 50 core shots. So what happens is in this Reddit clip or in this Twitch clip from my stream, I go to the replay and I check out what happens. So it's literally 3 catapults. It's Hellbats, and it's like a few Winions. So how this normally plays out, assume there's no Hellbats here, is these minions get cleared up instantly. They do barely any damage. The catapults then do a fair amount. But look what happens. So they tank the entire core. The shield goes down within 5 seconds. All of the Winions are completely free because the cores on the Hellbats that are not dying And the catapults are doing 3% each shot. Because they're doing 25% more damage. So the core ends up, when the Hellbats die, about 25%. So knowing that the core has 40% of its health in shield, knowing that it's 25% more, so we would have been at like 55% without the vulnerable. Then you factor in how much those Winions did, because they were doing about as much as the catapults, since they were all stood there in a firing squad, like not getting attacked. Like, so the Hellbats literally just did like plus 60% core damage in that situation.
Holy
it was
crap.
insane.
And it's so funny because when they first made that Hellbat change, everyone's like, they're so easy to dodge. You can just sidestep it. And they're like, wait, what if it applies to structures? That's never been a thing before. What? Well, that's what if it applies to structures.
I hope it doesn't apply to core. I see, because we had this issue before with like Jaina E-ing the core, and people were like, well, it just dies too quickly. And they took it out, so it no longer applies to structures. Like, now they've given it to Hellbats.
Yeah. Also, like, getting invaded on the Hellbat camp is mega scary because you're at permanent minus 25 armor. It's
here's
so
the
scary.
thing for me is I'm not even sure this change is good, because outside of that one situation where two Hellbats master core and just solo it, like they don't even feel impactful, because it's the same thing where the heroes never get hit by the Hellbats because they're hitting the minion waves. If they're hitting the structures, you need to clear them. You stand behind them, and you don't get hit by them.
Yeah, like
So they're never doing anything when they're in the lane until they reach like a structure and they start hitting the structures. Then someone needs to be there, but they can clear them for free. Well, when they're neutral though, and they haven't been capped yet, they are the scariest things ever.
Yeah.
I was playing earlier against the Zeratul. The Brightwing was tanking it. Literally, Zeratul turns up, just blinks in, like WQ auto, Brightwing, gone. That was it. And then just takes the camp. And Muradin almost 1v1 me as Rhaegar by jumping in and hitting one Stormbolt. Like, because I had minus 25 armor. Like, I'm not even sure you can ever take them right now. Like, unless your whole team's there, or their team's on the other side of the map. Yeah,
unless
like,
all 5 on the enemy team are showing you absolutely do not risk those. Like, it's so scary.
that's nuts. I hadn't figured that out, or hadn't thought of it that way, of taking a camp is a massive risk just because you're going to be at negative armor. And good to know. Good to think about that, because that would suck. Well,
Yeah.
night camps are beastly. Naturally, that's one of the big changes that we'll end up seeing over time. Cursed Hollow, have you guys played many games on it with the boss changes and the timing changes, knowing the first tribute's going to be there?
The boss changes didn't go through.
Oh, they didn't?
yeah.
Like, the boss despawns the other boss, and the ultra late spawn time, those changes didn't go through.
So
Was it
what
even
were
on the
those
patch notes?
changes? Was
The
it
bo-
a bug?
Well, the
I
boss
don't know.
spawned at 10 minutes, and then the whole thing with the other boss despawning, though, didn't seem consistent on the PTR. I didn't really understand the timing behind it.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
I don't know.
I-
But it's not happening.
Oh, that's good. That's good to know.
It was a little trippy for me, I will say. Knowing where the next tribute spawned was actually a little weird, because I kept expecting, like, I would glance at my minimap and see the tribute icon and be like, oh no, the tribute's spawning. And then, like, I would start walking there and being like, wait, it's not even close to, I don't even have the 30-second warning yet. I just know where it's happening. But that, I mean, that's just like a muscle memory thing. But I found that funny that I kept messing up my pathing and stuff, like trying to walk to tributes that weren't going to spawn for 2 minutes.
That was also amusing me the whole time. Like,
Yeah.
I was thinking like, hey, no, wait, never mind.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
So Chaos OS is saying in chat that it absolutely was not a bug. There were several lines of code written in the back end about basically 20 lines of code saying double boss spawn or double boss despawn, intentionally trying stuff. So that seems like it was a test. Maybe they got some feedback internally, but there was no mention of that in the patch notes. So that was kind of ghosted in to the PTR and ghosted out for live. I know I talked to a few players. I was talking to Ishbu about it, and he's just like, "This is a new map." He's like, "We're scrimming on it, like on the PTR, and nobody really gets it right now. It's completely different without the boss there. With the boss despawn, it changes things so much." But that's an interesting. You think about Heroes of the Storm maybe lasting an average of, let's say, 20 minutes a game, and if the boss doesn't spawn until halfway through that game, that's pretty intense, right? It definitely is a very different experience for gameplay.
Yeah.
So here's the thing about the objective on Cursed Hollow for me is like, in a professional game, people are going to work out how long the delay is between the tribute spawns. I heard it was standardized. I haven't tested it myself yet. So it might be standardized. It might still be there between 1 minute 30 and 2 minutes 30. It was last patch.
Mm-hmm.
People are going to work it out in competitive. Now that we have timestamps in game, they're going to be timestamping it. And in pro play, people are going to know exactly where it is and exactly where it spawns, or exactly when it spawns. However, in Hero League, I was still getting pretty thrown off, and my whole team was by, we now know where it is, we have no idea, literally no idea when it happens. So it still felt like we were missing a whole piece of the information. It's like when it was all behind the curtain, everything was up for grabs, right? But now it's like half behind the curtain. It's just annoying me. I want to see the whole picture, you know? Like,
That's interesting.
So let's say that you decided we're going to show timers. It would not change competitive at all, and I think it would raise the game quality of Hero League.
Maybe.
That's how I see it.
I mean, like you said, in pro games, it's a different beast, right? The communication is there, but in like quick match and Hero League and all that, it's more just like a sense of the tribute should be within 20 seconds, right? You just have that kind of eternal sense, like it's coming, be ready, I can get giants, whatever. And when everything's what, 90 seconds or 300 seconds for the first spawn, or what? I forget what it is.
I think all first spawns were pushed back to 3 minutes, right?
Yeah, so it's either 1:30 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, depending
for
on
every initial map objective spawn.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that's a good thing, but it's just gonna take. That's just one of the things when you've played thousands of games. It's just gonna take a little while to adjust to, you know. And I don't think it's gonna feel bad. I think it'll feel good in the end. But we can transition into viewer questions. You can use the Discord link, type !point Discord in the chat. And, you know, if you're listening to the MP3 or you're watching the VOD or whatever, you can then post a question for our next episode if you want to do that, because it's not like we delete the questions that are in there. All questions are good questions. Somebody already mentioned, we already talked about the performance-based matchmaking earlier in the show. This question was actually before the show started, but it's really interesting because they said Overwatch is switching away from performance-based matchmaking for Diamond and higher, and I had no idea about that. That's super interesting to me.
I wonder if there was like an Overwatch dev post about like the reasons they decided to move away from that, because I would be really curious to hear those opinions. As someone who like didn't want performance-based matchmaking rating in the first place, like I'd be interested.
Yeah, see if Kaplan put out a video or something. It might have.
Yeah, I bet he did.
So here's the concern that I have. Is like, I believe they said, like someone told me that what happened is in Overwatch they decided that above Diamond it wasn't reflective of the actual performance. Below, they were still very comfortable. It was at Diamond, it was most of the time, but once you got to like Master, Grandmaster, and like the highest levels of play, it got to the point where it was so much about communication, and it varied so much game to game what your actual role was in terms of where you should be standing on the objective, like, and even the situations that you pick those heroes in, that it was penalizing people for the wrong things, it was rewarding the wrong things at the highest level of play specifically.
Overwatch has got to be really tough to do that too, because you can swap your hero mid-game. So
they took the one you played the most, I believe.
Oh, okay.
And ignored everything else about the game.
Weird.
But yeah, so in HOTS, after my initial impressions with getting dongled on by playing supports, I thought quite well, but Blizzard definitely disagreed. That might be an area we have to go for heroes as well. But the benefits for heroes are going to be very effective, I think, in terms of bringing people down from those higher MMRs when they don't belong there. And a lot of them don't belong there because the placement bugs happened.
Yay! Looks like there's very few questions this week. We must have had such a informative show where we answered everything tonight. Oh my.
Nailed it.
Got it. Now, I think that's all we've got. You guys have got anything else you want to talk about, game related?
No, really.
Guns out of ammo. Bakery.
Let me think.
We didn't really talk about Hanzo at all.
Oh, yeah, no. We kind of skipped over Hanzo.
So he got some love. They pumped up his numbers to make him feel a little bit better. Personally, I feel like he seems solid. He does do good burst. If you complete that level 1 quest talent for the additional range on his Q, I think goes real far. How do you guys build him?
I have not played Hanzo yet because I wanted to get into ranked instantly with the gameplay changes. And Hanzo isn't the kind of character that particularly appeals to me personally. I did play with a couple Hanzos yesterday, and I felt like he was a reasonable hero. Like, I didn't feel like the Hanzo was compromising the team.
Do you know how they were
in terms
building?
of power level? I want to say one of them built Scattershot, and I don't remember what the other one.
So I've got some interesting thoughts on Hanzo's build. Okay, so I see the general sentiment around the community, and also from what I've seen on Twitter, the pro players, is that Q build is the way to go, and I think they're all getting hardcore baited. I think Q build sucks. Like, it absolutely sucks to the point where, like, I wouldn't even take it. And they all, like, the general impression seems to be Q build is the only viable one. So, linked in Twitch chat right now, it's the build that I think you go. It's a bit weird, okay? It's a hybrid build, but it's Redemption level 1. Which is so key. Like, if you play with it and you learn how to poke with Redemption, Scattershot, and Q, then he's doing so much more poke than standard Q build at mid-range, and at close range, he is dongling kids. He's putting all of them right up the Roger. Like, the amount of scatter arrows that you get from Redemption never outmatch synergy is insane. To the point where, like, they even start bouncing around. They're getting a lot more value when you can fire one every 2 seconds rather than waiting 10 seconds. And because Redemption, he's got huge attack range, and Redemption gives him a reasonable attack speed. It's 50%, guys. Like,
Yeah, that's big.
So the idea is, like, you walk in, you Q them, you auto attack, and then because you have Redemption, you get a second auto attack. So from mid range, he's poking way harder than Q build is because he's getting that second auto. From long range, Q build's getting long range poke, but nobody cares because first off, it's hard to hit. Second off, it's a fairly long cooldown, and third off, it's just getting healed. And fourth off, it's not even comparable to Chromie. Chromie has way more damage from that range, and it's a longer range. So, my opinion, Q build, everyone's getting baited. This build is the way to go. If you play it, especially once you get 16, you will feel how much damage he does. Having said all that, he still definitely has a lot of issues in terms of how squishy he is, in terms of how safe he is when he tries to get damage off, in terms of his D feeling like a train wreck to use, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And also the fact that his ultimates both seem fairly unimpactful to me. But I think this build, he does legitimately bring stuff to the team with the build that I linked. He doesn't with Q-Build, in my opinion.
I'm excited to try this build. I'll say that. The Q build, I definitely see what you're saying, because it in a lot of ways it is relatable to Chromie, but like it doesn't. You don't get Iron Talons until like level 16, right? His version of your Q synergized with your auto is when you feel like you can actually like kill someone in a fight. That's the you don't until 16 you can't like light someone up as Hanzo. Once you can, it feels good. It does. But this definitely sounds like a cool build. I'll give it a shot. For those of you guys, again, just the run through. If you want to run this and you're listening to the podcast on the MP3, Redemption, Explosive Arrows, Never Outmatched, Dragon's Arrow, Ninja Assassin, Giant Slayer, and Sharpened Arrowheads. You can find that on Bakery's builds on heroeshearth.com. Is that just like heroeshearth.com/bakery?
I don't know.
You don't even know,
to be honest.
Yeah. Okay.
No. So it's not even on my builds yet. I just linked it from like
you are a slacker.
Yeah.
Well, you're committed now. Good job. I'm gonna take another glance at Discord quickly. Where does Bakery come up with these phrases? Right out the Roger, or up the Roger, or out the Roger?
Up the Roger. I think he did them all up the Roger, is what I said just then. No, so basically, Kalaris, J-How arrives at the hotel at BlizzCon, and he somehow managed to lose his wallet in the shuttle. So Kalaris just turns to me out of nowhere, says, "Oh, he's up the Roger now," and I'm like, "What? What does that even mean?" He's like, "I don't know, but like it sounds good, right?" I'm like, "Sure." So,
James.
You know, he's up the Roger is a new phase between me and Kalaris and a few of our friends. And then I think Dongold, Dredd was talking to me about how underappreciated Dongold is in the cast, you know.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's like, Rich just dongled on kids, you know? Like,
it's like bungled. It's just bungled, but dongled. I mean...
Yeah, and it doesn't even mean anything. Dongle's just something you plug in to your computer. It's got no meaning, but it's got so much feeling behind it, you know?
Jeez.
Yeah. And it's probably does have a negative connotation, but...
Yeah. Absolutely. But...
So... Yeah, I guess that's our episode 165, and this might be the final true episode of the year. I don't know yet. Now it looks like if Bakery's free, and I don't know if he is, and he's not committed yet, because originally we said in our show that the 27th and the 3rd we would not have episodes. However, it looks like we might have Kala and Goku available on the 27th. I can make the show happen. And so we're potentially doing an episode with them on the 27th. I know, Dunk, you're busy with holiday stuff. Bakery, I don't know what you're doing. You haven't told me, and I can make it happen on my end. Next week, I think, is going to be Town Holiday. Are you guys good for that? Because you didn't respond to that message either. I'm putting you on the spot right now. Are we Town Holidaying next week?
See, I might be up the dongled on that.
Okay.
So I'll give an answer as soon as possible.
Well, this is a great time for everyone to follow the Town Hall Heroes Twitter to find out the status of our next episode, which should be next week, but I can't see Skype chat right now, so I have no idea what you guys are telling me. And if I look at it, your cams get completely bodied. So I'm in the dark. There's no secrets behind the scenes. But after that, January 10th is the official date for our D&D session. It's going to be December 10th, January 10th of 2018. We're going to have Alex Naiman from the Heroes of the Storm team joining us as our DM. I have never played D&D before in my life. And we're looking to collab with Roll20 to some extent. So that's going to be not the team, but the organization, because they basically are an online D&D platform and they sponsor in Heroes. So it just makes sense. That was a backer reward for Bloodlust. And again, thank you everyone that supported that event back in July. But I guess Bakery, man, shout outs.
So shout outs to everyone who followed my stream, and of course everyone who subscribed and all that fun stuff. Definitely stream me a lot more, to the point where I would even describe myself as a regular streamer for the coming weeks and months, hopefully. So you can find me at twitch.tv/bakery if you want to follow me there.
Duncan Stein, our other streamer, or Duncan Claus.
Nice.
I guess it's not Halloween anymore.
Yeah, true. I'm just gonna copy exactly what Bakery said. So if any of you listened to what Bakery said and shouted you out
Low
for
percentage.
it, if you took all of those words and just replaced the bakeries or me in there with Dunk Train, then you're good to go. And consider yourself shouted out, fam.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, just shout out to everyone that has supported our Patreon. You know, Patreon's actually doing some weird stuff right now, and they just reverted their changes. They announced that literally everyone that then paid to Patreon would then be paying a processing fee on top of it, where instead the Patreon, like people like TownHall, we normally pay that fee. They reverted it, then they unreverted it. So it's still the same. If you pledge $1, you're not paying $1.40. You're paying $1. Nothing weird. But, you know, I think we've almost hit the 100 marker for our Patreon. So thank you so much for that support, guys. If we hit 250, it says it on the page. There's a good chance the pre-show comes back, where you just get 30 minutes of stupid content, or something of that sort. That is our goal. To hit that marker. So thank you for that. Or just subscribing on the Twitch here. That's another great way to show support for the show. Shout out to everyone that's been tuning into my stream. I'm doing a giveaway right now. It's going to be on December 29th, but I may as well plug it. I'm giving away in North America Heroes of the Storm mouse and mouse pad. It's a SteelSeries Sensei mouse and a mouse pad. Because I started using basically like a Twitch extension that tracks like loyalty points and everything. And it's part of that extension, but all you have to do is tune in on that day, enter the giveaway. It's, you know, obviously it's totally free, and it is restricted to North America only, just because shipping to Europe it's too esports for me. Too esports for me, yeah. But all right, guys. Well, thanks so much for tuning in, and Duncan Bakery, GG's, guys. It's always good getting your knowledge. I'm excited to try this Hanzo build.
Yeah, me too.
No, you're not. You're not gonna play it. Don't lie.
I'm gonna play him as soon as Valyria gets nerfed, I promise.
That's actually pretty good advice. We'll see you next time. GG's. Welcome here to Town Hall.